So you've indicated that you and your partner are together here in Australia. So the purpose of this video is to give you some quick actionable advice and recommendations on typically what we would suggest couples look to do in order to qualify to submit an onshore partner visa. So let's jump into my trusty whiteboard. So the scenario is you and your partner are here in Australia. Now, ordinarily, that means that the visa applicant, let's say the partner visa applicant in this case, is here on some type of temporary visa. Now there really is a handful of common temporary visas that people will be in Australia on, and they are student, tourist, including things like ETA or e-visitor visas, a working holiday visa, possibly a graduate visa, a 485 graduate visa, maybe even sponsored on some type of temporary sponsored visa, let's say a TSS. Now, these really do make up the majority. Statistically, the majority of temporary visas issued to those overseas to come into Australia. So if you're here looking to apply for an onshore partner visa with an Australian, then likely you are on one of these visa types. So the first thing to always consider is your visa expiration date. That always dictates really the options. So whenever I have calls with people and they're in this situation where they're onshore on a visa, the first thing I like to confirm is the visa expiration. If we have enough time to work with the couple, then we know what's required on paper in order to demonstrate that a couple are either in a de facto relationship or in a married relationship when a partner visa is submitted, because that is fundamentally the criteria of an onshore partner visa. The onshore visa you're applying for, there's only one, is an 820, 801. Simple. So there's no confusion around what visas to apply for. It really is one pathway. To qualify, to meet the criteria to have this visa granted, you must either be in a married relationship or de facto relationship at the time of application. Now, de facto couples also need to satisfy what's known as the 12-month rule, meaning you must have been in that de facto relationship for 12 months before the visa was applied for. So that's not 12 months dating, that's not 12 months together, that's 12 months de facto. So often we look at how long you were dating for previously, when can we nominate a de facto date, and has that been 12 months? And do we have enough time left until the visa expires to prove that you will be in a de facto relationship when we apply? There are, however, ways to waive this 12-month requirement. To keep it simple, the simplest way for those that live in any Australian state or territory other than WA or Northern Territory is to register your relationship as a civil union. If you'd like more information around that process in waiving the 12-month requirement as a de facto couple, specifically in relation to the civil union loophole, so to speak, please have a look at our YouTube channel. There's a video there that's dedicated to talk about that in more detail. So to qualify, you must be married at the time of application or in a de facto relationship at the time of application, including for at least 12 months unless you've waived it. Now, what does it mean to be in a married or de facto relationship? Now, the government will look at 4 areas of a relationship. They'll look at your household, cohabitation. They'll look at your financials. They'll look at your social aspects, and then they'll look at the nature of your commitment. Household means to say, are you cohabitating? Are you living together? Although there isn't necessarily a legal requirement that a couple be cohabitating in order to prove they are in a married or de facto relationship, you must be able to demonstrate you are not living apart on a permanent basis. Now, there's a risk threshold question there as to whether or not a partner visa application should be submitted if a couple are not living together. But in this context of a couple are together here in Australia, there really should be no reason that a couple are not living together. Only in very, very specific or unique circumstances would we, let's say for example, here at Salvo Migration, agree to submit an onshore partner visa if the couple are not living together but they're here in Australia. Now, as I said, there might be exceptions to that expectation, but that is, I suppose, what we look for in whether or not we take a case on. Fundamentally, we like to be able to prove that a couple are living together. Then we have financial aspect of relationship. In simple terms, do you pool your finances together as a couple in order to pay for the expenses of your relationship, including, let's say, your rent, your utility bills, your grocery bills, and your general kind of living and social expenses of the relationship? So in simple terms, open up joint bank accounts if you're here in Australia. It's the simplest, cleanest way to demonstrate financial pooling, and the sooner you do that, the better. Socially, do you portray yourselves to be in a married or de facto relationship, whichever the case may be? So do your friends and family know that you are in a married or de facto relationship? Do their supporting statements verify this? Specifically, do their supporting statements mention that they know you are in a married relationship or in a de facto relationship? And do you have other supporting documentation to demonstrate that socially you have portrayed yourself to be in a married or de facto relationship? So that's what they look at in summary when assessing the social aspect of your relationship. And lastly, it's the nature of your commitment. How committed are you to the relationship? What do you see happening in future in your relationship? And how long have you been together for? That's more or less what I'm indicating there by a clock. It's to symbolize that they do look at length of relationship, even if the 12-month rule is waived. And to clarify, the 12-month rule does not apply to married couples. But nonetheless, despite the fact that there isn't a strict legal minimum length requirement anymore, if you've waived it or if you're married, they still do look at length of relationship at time of application to determine if they feel you're de facto. So the longer you've been together for, the higher the likelihood that your relationship has evolved away from just dating to being in a de facto relationship, or moved away from just dating to being in a married relationship. Now, when I say married relationship, I mean anyone can get a marriage certificate. That's a certificate, if anyone's wondering. Anyone can go and get a marriage certificate. That on its own does not demonstrate you are in a genuine married relationship. It demonstrates you are legally married, but they still look at the 4 areas of the relationship. There really is no differentiation in terms of how we prepare partner visas for couples that are married or de facto. The main difference is one has a marriage certificate, the other does not, but we still prove the 4 areas of the relationship the same, whether they're married or not. So those are some key takeaways. Visa expiration, how much time do you have left to strengthen these areas of relationship to prove you're in a de facto or married relationship? Are you attempting to claim de facto? Will you marry prior to lodgement? And finally, be organized in advance. If you're in a relationship with someone and you know that at some point in the horizon, there's likely going to be the need to submit an onshore partner visa, ensure that you are now starting to strengthen these aspects of your relationship in advance. A metaphor, a term that I've used in other content in the past, it's get your ducks in a row. The sooner you can move in, the sooner you can open up joint accounts, the sooner you start socially portraying yourself to be in a relationship, the sooner you do all those things, the higher the likelihood that in future, eventually when you submit the application, the government's going to accept that you are in a de facto or married relationship. Now, finally, my final recommendation to anyone watching this video that's in this situation is please go to our YouTube channel and find our Partner Visa Secrets training. Now, if you've liked this very short crash course, so to speak, then you have my personal guarantee that you will find our Partner Visa Secrets modules beneficial, that it's like getting your diploma for your Australian partner visa. It's about 3 hours worth of training content where I go into each of these kind of components and considerations in a lot more detail, using a lot of graphics, a lot of diagrams, and you have my guarantee that by the end of watching that content, you will have an exponentially better understanding of how to get a partner visa granted, what you and your partner should start doing immediately, and ultimately increase the likelihood of you preparing or having a good relationship that can be evidenced and that a complying partner visa can be applied for you and your partner. From there, it's really a matter of you determining how much help you think you might need with this type of application. Now, here at Salvo Migration, we pride ourselves on developing alternative solutions and products for couples that may not necessarily be looking to engage a lawyer or lawyers like us to handle the process. So please have a look at our website for information on alternative products. But effectively, we have digital downloads that can be downloaded for free. There's some at a very affordable nominal cost. Then we have Easy, which is our partner visa preparation software, where effectively you can subscribe to use that software and get unlimited support, chat support in the actual software while you prepare your own application. And then of course, there's our full representation for couples that would like us to handle this entire process for them. So please have a look around our website for more information around our products and services. Please go watch that Partner Visa Secrets training that I mentioned before. And ultimately, I hope this video has been helpful, and I look forward to hearing about your partner visa journey in future. Thank you very much. Martin from Salvo Migration. Bye-bye.